United Nations recommends a census enumeration at least once every 10 years, and once every 5 years for even better data. Rather than simply relying on estimates and projections alone. 1. Complications to carrying out a census include tribal conflict, war, borders not demarcated, budget, inexperience, political snags, lack of manpower, and poor geographic information systems. A number of nations have not carried them out once a decade. It is not uncommon for a scheduled census to be deferred or delayed. Lebanon has not held a census since 1932. Afghanistan is closing in on 4 decades without a census. DRC and Uzbekistan stand out as not having a census since before 1990. Madagascar has not had counts since the 1990s. Eritrea has only had one as a part of Ethiopia in the 1990s. Americas. Antigua and Barbuda population and housing censuses was carried out in 1991, 2001, and 2011. 32. The 2011 census was released in May 2014. Argentina main article. National Institute of Statistics and Census of Argentina. Map of Argentina in the Americas. National population censuses are carried out in Argentina roughly every 10 years. The last ones having been carried out in 2001, 6, October 27, 2010 and May 18, 2022. Argentinian flag. Coat of arms. Demographic and historical evolution of the Argentinian population since the first official census carried out in 1869. N. Year. Population. Argentina population and housing census. 19th century. First 1869 steady 1,877,490. 1869 Argentinian census. Second 1895 increase 4,044,911. 1895 Argentinian census. 20th century. Third 1914 increase 7,903,662. 1914 Argentinian census. Fourth 1947 increase 15,893,811. 1947 Argentinian census. Fifth 1960 increase 20,013,793. 1960 Argentinian census. Sixth 1970 increase 23,364,431. 1970 Argentinian census. Seventh 1980 increase 27,949,480. 1980 Argentinian census. Eighth 1991 increase 32,615,528. 1991 Argentinian census. 21st century. Ninth 2001 increase 36,260,142. 2001 Argentinian census. 10th 2010 increase 40,117,096. 2010 Argentinian census. 11th 2022 increase 45,892,285. 2022 Argentinian census. Barbados censuses on population sizes in Barbados are conducted by the Barbados Statistical Service, BSS. The last major census was conducted in 2021. Bolivia main article. National Institute of Statistics of Bolivia. Map of Bolivia in the Americas. Bolivia became independent from Spain on August 6, 1825, and since that time the country has managed to carry out around 11 population and housing censuses throughout its history as an independent country. The first population census of Bolivia was carried out in 1831, and 4 years later the second census was carried out in 1835, the third in 1845, the fourth in 1854, and finally the fifth census was in 1882. this being the last 19th century census. During the 20th century, Bolivia only carried out 4 censuses. The first at the beginning of the century in 1900 and the second census was in 1950, after 50 years, already in the middle of the 20th century. The next census was carried out 26 years later in 1976 and the next census was carried out after 16 years in 1992, this being also the last of the century. At the beginning of the 21st century, Bolivia carried out a new population census in 2001 and after 11 years the next census was carried out again in 2012. Currently and after 12 years, Bolivia will carry out its third census on March 23, 2024. This being the third population and housing census of the century. Bolivian flag, coat of arms of Bolivia. Demographic and historical evolution of the Bolivian population since the first official census, carried out in 1831. Year population. Bolivia population and housing census, 33, 19th century. First 1831 steady 1,088,768 1831 Bolivian census. Second 1835 decrease 1,060,777 1835 Bolivian census. Third 1845 increase 1,378,896 1,845 Bolivian census. Fourth 1854 increase 2,326,126 1854 Bolivian census. Fifth 1882 decrease 1,172,156 1882 Bolivian census. 20th century. Sixth 1900 increase 1,766,451 1900 Bolivian census. 7th 1950 increase 2,704,165 1950 Bolivian census. 8th 1976 increase 4,613,419 1976 Bolivian census. 9th 1992 increase 6,420,792 1992 Bolivian census. 21st century. 10th 2001 increase 8,274,325 2001 Bolivian census. 11th 2012 increase 10,059,856 2012 Bolivian census. 12th 2024 increase 11,312,620 2024 Bolivian census. National Institute of Statistics of Bolivia, INA. Brazil. Further information. Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics. The Brazilian census is carried out by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics every 10 years. The last one was in 2010. Earlier censuses were taken in 1872, the first, 1900, 1920, 1941, 1950, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1991, 2000 and 2010. Brazil's demographic census is one of the most hierarchical collection of census data in the world. Its hierarchies include Brazil, country, major regions, states, macro-regions, micro-regions, municipalities, districts, sub-districts, neighborhoods and census tracts. Depending on the administrative hierarchy, some types of data are not published to respect confidentiality. For example, the lower area of data collection is the census tract, with approximately 300 households, and information is collected on age, condition of the home, gender, income, among others. Districts. Information on race, color, religion, disability, etc. Municipalities, cities. In addition to the information already described, there is information of GDP, industrial production, agricultural production, migration between cities to study or work, to live migration, inflation, employment rates, number of industries, the quantity of trade, etc. Information is collected with handheld computers equipped with GPS receivers and digitized maps. Next census was scheduled to begin August 1, 2020 but was delayed 2 times due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. 35. The census is scheduled to begin on August 1, 2022. More than 1 million people applied for 206.891 positions. 36. Map of Brazil in the Americas. Brazilian flag. Coat of arms of Brazil. Demographic and historical evolution of the Brazilian population since the first official census carried out in 1872. N. Year. Population. Brazil. Population and housing census. 19th century. First 1872 steady 9,930,478. 1872 Brazilian census. Second 1890 increase 14,333,915. 1890 Brazilian census. 20th century. Third 1900 increase 17,438,434. 1900 Brazilian census. Fourth 1920 increase 30,635,605. 1920 Brazilian census. Fifth 1940 increase 41,236,315. 1940 Brazilian census. Sixth 1950 increase 51,944,397. 1950 Brazilian census. 7th 1960 increase 70,992,343. 1960 Brazilian census. 8th 1970 increase 94,508,583. 1970 Brazilian census. 9th 1980 increase 121,150,573. 1980 Brazilian census. 10th 1991 increase 146,917,459. 1991 Brazilian census. 21st century. 11th 2000 increase 169,590,693. 2000 Brazilian census. 12th 2010 increase 190,755,799. 2010 Brazilian census. 13th 2022 increase 203,062,512. 2022 Brazilian census. Canada. Chile. National population censuses are carried out in Chile every 10 years by the National Statistics Institute, INA. The last one took place in 2012. But its results were dismissed by the INA due to a high emission rate and other problems. 38. A new abbreviated census took place in April 2017, with a full census to be carried out in 2022. 39. The last official census results are from 2002. Map of Chile in the Americas. Flag. Chilean flag. Coat of arms of Chile. Demographic and historical evolution of the Chilean population since the first official census carried out in 1835. N. Year population Chile population and housing census 19th century first 1835 steady 1,010,336 1835 Chilean census second 1843 steady 1,083,701 1843 Chilean census third 1854 increase 1,439,120 1854 Chilean census 4th 1865 increase 1,819,223 1865 Chilean census 5th 1875 increase 2,075,971 1875 Chilean census 6th 1885 increase 2,507,005 1885 Chilean census 7th 1895 increase 2,695,625 1895 Chilean census 20th century 8th 1907 increase 3,231,022 1907 Chilean census 9th 1920 increase 3,720,235 1920 Chilean census 10th 1930 increase 4,287,445 1930 Chilean census 11th 1940 increase 5,023,539 1940 Chilean census 12th 1952 increase 5,932,995 1952 Chilean census 13th 1960 increase 7,374,115 1960 Chilean census 14th 1970 increase 8,884,768 1970 Chilean census 15th 1982 increase 11,329,736 1982 Chilean census 16th 1992 increase 13,348,401 1992 Chilean census 21st century 17th 2002 increase 15,116,435 2002 Chilean census 18th 2012 increase 16,634,603 2012 Chilean census 19th 2017 increase 17,574,003 2017 Chilean census Colombia population and housing censuses in Colombia were conducted by the National Administrative Department of Statistics in 1825, 1835, 1843, 1851, 1864, 1870, 1905, 1912, 1918, 1928, 1938, 1951, 1964, 1973, 1985, 1993, 2005 and 2018. 40. Map of Colombia in the Americas flag Colombian flag coat of arms of Colombia demographic and historical evolution of the Colombian population since the first official census carried out in 1825. N. Year population Colombia population and housing census 19th century first 1825 steady 2,583,799 1825 Colombian census second 1835 decrease 1,687,109 1835 Colombian census third 1843 increase 1,932,279 1843 Colombian census 4th 1851 increase 2,243,730 1851 Colombian census 5th 1864 increase 2,441,300 1864 Colombian census 6th 1870 increase 2,681,637 1870 Colombian census 20th century 7th 1905 increase 4,533,777 1905 Colombian census 8th 1912 increase 5,472,604 1912 Colombian census 9th 1918 increase 5,855,077 1918 Colombian census 10th 1928 increase 7,851,110 1928 Colombian census 11th 1938 increase 8,697,041 1938 Colombian census 12th 1951 increase 11,548,172 1951 Colombian census 13th 1964 increase 17,484,510 1964 Colombian census 14th 1973 increase 20,666,920 1973 Colombian census 15th 1985 increase 27,853,432 1985 Colombian census 16th 1993 increase 33,109,839 1993 Colombian census 21st century 17th 2005 increase 41,468,384 2005 Colombian census 18th 2018 increase 48,258,494 2018 Colombian census